Okay, so it's been 10 years since adulthood, 8 years since adulthood. Why now to bring back, to bring the final chapter?
No other reason than the time I was just decided to write it. You know, I never wanted to do it before. I never wanted to do it full stop. It wasn't something I planned to do. I just got older and had kids myself and just started thinking about life and like where I would have been if I'd made different choices in my life. You know, I could have been in much worse situations, you know, and how I handle situations now is a lot different. I'm like, I just can't be bothered. And that comes from having children. And so that sort of inspired me to think about where Sam would be in his life. And that's where it came from.
Okay, the Hood series has always been depicted as, or heralded as a true depiction of London life. I'm a Londoner myself, and I think it's, you know, pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Why was it so important for you to tell that side of London life?
That's how I grew up. That's kind of where I lived. You know, these films are true to, you know, obviously there's drama and nonsense. Like I don't have Uncle Curtis, you know, Black Trevor. I don't have anyone like that in my life, and you know, but essentially the kids hanging out and just being kids or whatever they were, that was just me and my friends. And you know, the films are set in the area. The films are set in the area that I grew up in.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Yeah, it's a completely different. So we've got like Made in Chelsea. That shows West London. And
Yeah.
This is a completely
Which is
different
West
side.
London. Yeah. Yeah, because I just grew up in that area, so I just set them there. Like I couldn't do it in North London because I could tell that story, but it wouldn't be as authentic because I don't really know. I didn't grow up in North London.
Okay. As well as having the characters grow up, the actual plot and storyline seems like a lot more mature as well.
Yeah.
And you seem to have taken it out of the hood, and it's more has like a gangster feel to it.
Yeah.
Did you feel you had to evolve the story that way to have it as a closing chapter?
Yeah, I think so, because like I felt I evolved it because, you know, you couldn't. The whole point was that Henry and Sam are not involved in that sort of life. They don't know anything about the hood. You know, they kind of live in the same area, but you know, Sam's wife's a lawyer. She might be on maternity, but she's a lawyer. Henry's wife makes her own jewelry. Like they're now what we would call middle class. As much as they're still like working class mentality, you know, they're kind of middle class characters really, and that's just the progression of that area. Living, whether you still live in the council estate like Henry and Ashanti, or whether, you know, you're renting a house or maybe mortgaging, who knows, I don't know what Sam and Kayla are doing, but she's a lawyer, so I'm assuming she's doing all right. Yeah, she's got some money. So whether you're doing that, you're still living in that area, but the whole point of the film was that, you know, they're not involved in that stuff, and then they start to get dragged back in.
Sam seems to struggle actually going back into that old life, and there's quite a few emotional scenes for you in it, which was actually quite nice to see you getting in touch with your feminine side for once. How do you go around actually filming those kind of emotional scenes for you? What do you do?
Just the same way, man. Like, but super prep them before, so I know what I'm doing and what I need to do and when I need to do it, and just kind of, you know, I know the material. I know, obviously I've written it, so I kind of know the beats and know where I think I want the performance, and you know, but I treat myself like any other actor. You know, make sure that the performance is good, and I think this is probably my best performance in a while. And really just focus on getting it down, and yeah, the emotional stuff's there because it needed to be. That was the maturity of the story.
Yeah. You've also got quite a lot of humour in there as well, and Henry is actually brilliant.
Yeah, he's great.
That had me crying with laughter.
Yeah, he's funny.
Was that always your intention to have quite a lot of comedy in there as well to contrast?
Yeah, I think, you know, because the characters are older and they can't be misbehaving in the way that they did when they were younger, you needed to find a new way to draw the audience in and make sure that they were engaged in the film for the non-dramatical moments, and I think Henry provides that, you know, but also it's done in a way that people relate to. You know, everyone's had that moment where the missus is like, I thought you said this, and you're like, what? Did I say that? You know, like, you know, so I think Henry really kind of brought that to the fore as like the sort of husband that is trying his best to do everything right, but slips up and makes mistakes. And
it was nice to see him go from being a scally in adulthood
to
being.
Yeah, but you know what? Even
yeah,
even in adulthood, he was like kind of the, you know, he was kind of the good one, and you know, said he didn't want to do the bad stuff, which is why Plan B hit him with the brick in the first place. Do you know what I mean? So he was, even back then, his character still had sort of that moral compass.
Yeah. As well as some, like a couple of old faces, you've also got some new faces. You've got, as I call him, the psycho eye candy in Hugs, with
Yeah.
Leishon Alexander.
Leishon, yeah.
Yeah, I like him a lot, actually.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
You've worked with him before, haven't
Yeah,
you?
we produced We Are Monster, which was a
Yes.
film that he wrote and starred in, directed by Tony Anthony Petru. Yeah.
I thought so. Was that a reason why you got
Yeah,
him in
yeah.
on
We,
Brotherhood?
after we got involved in that and that film got done and we became friends and all that kind of stuff, it's just I like him and I like working with people I like. And I said to him, man, I'm gonna have a role for you in this, and that's what I do.
Okay. You've also got Stormzy in there as
Yeah.
well. Was that a conscious decision to maybe bring in the younger audiences that are not familiar with the Hood series?
It was a conscious decision to bring in someone young that I thought was fitting to the character, but like, he wasn't the star. He was a star, but now he's a mega star. Like, we didn't know that was going to happen. So it wasn't like a concerted, like I had a crystal ball I could see in the future and know he was going to be like a global superstar.
Yeah.
It was like I just liked what he brought to the table. I liked his vibe, and he was still. Everyone was like, "Yeah, this kid's good," and I just really liked what he was doing, and he fitted that character. Because he could have played Hugs. He could have played. There's bigger roles if you want to capitalize on what someone's achieving. It wasn't about that. It's like I thought he'd be good enough. I liked what he was doing. So we put him in. I asked him, and he was gracious enough to come and do it. And then he became like a global megastar. Yeah. So I'm like, man, I'm glad we got you before that happened.
Yeah.
We'd never get him. You'd never get him now.
Would have been able to afford him.
You'd never get him now. Yeah.
What was it like to actually work with him? Do you think he's got a career as an actor?
Yeah, he has great talent, great natural talent. I'm not sure he knows how good he is because it's the first time he's done it. But you can see there as a natural performer, everything that he brought to the table, without only directed by me. And then I take a lot of time in directing my actors, so, got that great performance out of him. And, but he is naturally gifted in that as well. But that comes from performing,
Yeah, okay. Final question. See, last time I interviewed you, we talked about your naked bum.
Yeah.
You get your kit off again in here, in
Yeah.
this Brotherhood.
You love it, don't you?
Yeah. Is that as a sort of running theme with you now in your projects that you have to get naked?
Well, let me think. It wasn't in Storage 24. It wasn't in the Knot or the Anomaly or 4321.
The Anomaly is what I interviewed for, and you had...
It was in Anomaly, yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't in Storage 24, wasn't in the Knot, wasn't in 4321, wasn't in Fast
The ones
Girls,
that I see.
wasn't in Fast Girls. I think people seem to think it's in more than films than they think it is, but I think it's about 60-40 not in.
Okay.
But in these films are so real and so, what they are, it's like, don't shy away from it. And I love nudity anyway. I love annoying people. I love pushing the envelope a little bit.
I know you do.
I love just because I see people shuffle uncomfortable. I'm like, what's wrong with you, mate? Like, you're not naked every day anyway. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I love just pushing people a little bit. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, well that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.